Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the pleasure to interview Riley Smith, top producer with EWM in Coconut Grove, Florida. His story is very interesting. When I first called Riley for the interview, I said, Riley, your story, it's very interesting to me. You started doing blogs, all right, when nobody believed in blogs. And you know what he said to me? Orlando, I didn't believe in blogs either. The thing is, I didn't have the money to compete with the top producers in the area. So I started producing content and positioning myself as an expert. 5 years later, he has grown his business 50% every single year for the past 5 years. So I have so many notes from the interview that I want to read them to you. Right now he has over 1,200 posts, and he posts a new article every other day. He also mentions that we have to work to learn before we work to earn. Very important. We need to work to learn first and then work to earn. Then he talks about being very, very knowledgeable about the market. Nothing will prepare you more than creating those articles, those blog posts, than doing the research for those articles. He also talks about we sell confidence. We don't sell houses, we sell confidence. And the best way to achieve that confidence is by what? By having the knowledge. Very, very important. He also talks about looking at our business as a business, not as a real estate agent, and the importance of building a very, very strong team. This is a wonderful interview that you can't miss. I call Riley the real estate agent of the present and the future, where you don't compete on marketing, on money, you compete on content, and you position yourself as an expert of choice because of the value and the content you constantly provide to your clients. That's what Riley has been doing for a long time, and now you can see his success with over 120 transactions per year. I hope you pay attention, very close attention to this interview. You write a lot of notes because this is the type of agent of the present and the future. If you want not only to compete but dominate in this industry and you don't have the budget to buy the business in terms of doing a lot of marketing, newspapers and magazines, this is the way you do it. So pay very close attention, write a lot of notes, and I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I did. But more important, you learn from this interview as much as I did. I hope you have a wonderful day and make it a very, very productive week. Take care, guys.
This week's featured property is a stunning Mediterranean estate from 1936, located in the exclusive guard-gated community of the Moorings in Coconut Grove, Florida. 3431 North Moorings Way offers 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, 5,372 square feet of living area on a 12,000 square foot lot. This home has timeless architecture, which has been masterfully updated with the finest materials and attention to detail. Some of the unique features include vaulted wood beam ceilings, fireplace, elegant kitchen, impact glass, custom millwork, and riparian dockage rights. It is just a short walk to the Coconut Grove Village and minutes to Coral Gables. For more information about this stunning estate, contact top producer Riley Smith at 305-342-1623.
Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today I have the pleasure and a very, very nice interview for you. I have the pleasure to talk to Riley Smith, top producer for EWM. Riley, thank you very much for having me in this beautiful house that you have listed. Before we get started, tell me a little bit about the house.
This is a 1936 Old Spanish, located in Moorings, on North Moorings Way, which is one of Coconut Grove's most prestigious neighborhoods. You know, we've had the listing on the market just for a little while now. We're listed at $3,875,000.
Okay.
It's about 5,300 square feet, and on 12,000 square feet of, as you can see, beautiful manicured lawn.
Very
here.
nice, and very nice neighborhood.
Nice neighborhood, access
Gated
to the
community.
water, gated community, walking distance to town.
Right.
So it's really the trifecta here. You have everything you could want in this house. So,
By the way, this is one of your many listings. How many listings you sold last year?
last year we sold 121 properties.
121 properties.
For $70 million.
$70 million. And that's why you're on the top right now, one of the most prestigious companies in Miami.
Yes.
All right. All right, so now let's get started with the interview. Again, thank you for having me in this beautiful property.
You're welcome, thank you.
What's your background?
I was a floundering salesperson. I think,
Okay.
You know,
What
trying this,
industries?
trying that. I sold washers and dryers.
Okay.
I helped charities try to raise money. I didn't really find my own way for a long time.
Okay.
It took a while.
Okay.
I didn't have a career path right out of college, which I think is probably a common thread with realtors.
Okay.
I think, you know, we tend
I
to
think so.
come to this business after we've tried a bunch of others. You know, and you know, it always appealed to me, real estate, but I never really understood it.
Why real estate, and how did you get involved in real estate, in the business?
I got involved with real estate from my best friend, was a realtor back before the crash of '08. So market was very hot here, and I wanted to buy a house.
Okay.
You know, it was time to grow up and buy a house. So I went to him and I said, you know, I have this much money, and he laughed at me.
Okay.
And he said, you know, you want to live in Coconut Grove or that? And he said,
Right.
well, there's 2 houses.
Okay.
And he didn't even leave his office. He thought I was joking. I got in my car. I drove to the first one. The owner was standing outside. I saw the owner. I said, can I see your house? I went in. I liked it. Went back to my friend's office. Said, I want to buy that one.
Okay.
30 days later, we were closed. I looked at the closing statement.
Like
I
most
made like
agents,
$20,000, and I said,
Right.
"Oh my God, this is the easiest business in the world." He
It
didn't even
is,
leave
right?
his office, and you know, so let me get my license.
Exactly.
And I was still maturing into, you know, sort of manhood, I could say. I
Okay.
was, you know, and had not yet started my family or anything, so I was still thinking I could make a quick buck, have time to go to the beach, enjoy the South Florida lifestyle that I was kind of enjoying. And I thought, as most agents do, that real estate would allow me freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and make a lot of money.
How long ago was that?
That was 14 years ago.
14 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to try to fit in 30, 35 minutes all the wonderful things we were talking behind the cameras. So, 30 years ago. Now, do you have a mentor when you got started in the business?
Yeah, when I started, first I started a Coldwell Banker 14 years ago, and
Right.
Ivory Cooks, who is a sort of a local legend here in the Grove, has been
Yes,
doing
he
real
is.
estate for a long time.
Right.
You know, after watching me kind of flounder around for a while, I went to him and said, you know, what am I doing wrong? And he started laughing, and the list was so long. It was overwhelming, you know.
Okay.
But first it started with, you know, maybe you shouldn't go to the beach every day. You know,
okay.
and come into the office. But, you know, he really took the time to teach me the way to be a professional.
Okay.
And that this is a business. And
Exactly.
you know, you're not just running around once in a while. You need to have a plan, and you need to be organized, and you know, you need to go to work.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to hear that,
Okay.
but once I started learning and watching him and following him around, and it started resonating that, you know, maybe if I did something a little different, my career would go in a better direction.
You said something within the first few minutes. Number one, you thought it was going to be easy. All right. That's that. We make 3 assumptions when we get started.
Yeah.
Number one, well, it's very simple to make it in the business,
Sure.
right? We're going to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And the company we're going to work for, it's going to give us
Give us
all
everything.
the training that we need.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Then what happens 8 to 12 months from that point that you got your license,
Yeah.
it's what I call in coaching is the honeymoon, it's over.
It's over.
Right?
Yes.
You find out you need help, you found a
Yeah.
mentor,
Yeah.
all right? That you don't know what you're doing when you're a beginner, and what happens is you don't do anything, or even worse,
Yeah.
you do the wrong thing.
You do the wrong thing.
Right.
Yeah, quite often.
Exactly. And then you find out that you're working for a nice company, but you said, the second thing you said, that this is a business.
Yeah.
It's not a career, it's not a job. In order to make money, you have to think like a business person.
I think most people think real estate is a career where you can get into it and not spend any money.
Right.
And you know, you tell me what successful business, you can do that.
Exactly.
You know, so once you realize, man, I have to spend money on this business, and you start to figure out the right way to do it, then you'll start to see. You have to invest in your business.
Exactly.
Not just your time and your energy, but you have to invest money. And,
Exactly.
and the ones that do really seem to be the ones that start to escalate their career a lot faster, I think.
Right.
But I met with a young guy yesterday that I was helping,
Right.
and he asked me to mentor him. And in 5 minutes, he had told me he had bought Zillow leads and he had bought this, and he had spent all his money in 3 months, and now he's broke and he didn't have one good lead to show for it.
Sounds familiar.
So yeah, absolutely. And this business is more and more sophisticated every day, and there's many more options for things. Right. But there's also, that means there's many more places for you to spend your money and make mistakes.
Right.
So you really, it's hard to find the right niche and where and how to do this. Right. And I think starting on your own is really tough today.
It is. It is. But your story, and that's why I was so interested to interview you. Your story is different from most agents. You invested time, money, and effort on creating or building a community, by educating clients in the area with a blog. Yeah. Right. And when I first talked to you on the phone, I said, Riley, I think your story is so interesting. You got started or jump started your career, your business with a blog. Mm-hmm. And most people didn't believe in blogs. And what did you say to me?
At the time, I didn't believe in blogs.
Exactly.
I thought it was the dumbest idea I'd ever heard. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Luckily, I was in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
Going back now to just about the time the market crashed, so let's say 07. Okay. So about 07. EWM, Beth Butler was at the time our vice president there, and she was a very forward-thinking person. Right. And she had brought in this company from California. And the guy's name was Jim Cronin, who I still speak to today. Okay. And she said, this guy's going to be the foremost company in real estate blogging, and the name of the company was the Real Estate Tomato. And I thought, that's about the dumbest name I ever heard in my life. And I listened to this guy talk, and I'm just sitting there, and first of all, I'm a better talker than I'm a writer. So the idea and the concept
I think
of
most
blogging,
of us in the industry are.
I think we're communicators.
Right, exactly.
So the idea of writing a blog and constantly doing all the things this guy, it was overwhelming, and I literally just closed my eyes and couldn't wait for him to leave. But then things started happening, the market changed, the market got a little tougher. I was just starting my career, but I couldn't, I knew I wanted to grow, but I couldn't compete financially with the big agents.
Oh, great point, great point.
So I had to figure out a way to get my message out there, get my brand building, and reach clients without spending a lot of money. Right. And so the beauty of blogging was, the upfront cost was a couple thousand, and the rest is your time. Right. Forever. Right. That couple thousand now, has resonated into millions in business for us, honestly.
And millions of
dollars in business. Almost 50% of our business.
And it requires time and effort.
Time and effort. Right. But it doesn't require money after you start. So we really started the blog slowly but surely. We would check the website every day. 5 people read it. Man, and we would be excited. And then we realized 4 of them were us. So it took a while, but then it was 10.
It took a while. It wasn't overnight.
Yes, it's not overnight. You have to plant the seed, and then you have to let it grow, and you have to watch it. And but finally, after about a year, 100 people, 200 people were coming daily, reading it, and it started to become a real good marketing tool for us.
Exactly.
And as we talked about off camera, if you are someone who is disseminating information, you're putting information out there. People reading it, they believe you to be the expert.
Exactly.
Only an expert would do that.
Right.
And so we started learning how to monopolize on that, and then we started learning how to manipulate Google and figuring out, we all know, how does everybody look for a real estate agent today? Right. Google. Right. They used to ask their friends, but they don't anymore. Now
92% of all buyers and sellers start and continue their search on the internet.
On the internet. And so we started figuring out how to get, if you're looking for a home in Coconut Grove, today you Google Coconut Grove and we are all over the place. And we've never paid to be there. It's all organic. And Google, we've learned that Google has looked at us as a news source now. Right. So therefore they give us, and they put us up higher. So that really, started our career and was the catalyst, I think, to allow us to then spend money in other areas as we started to grow.
Right. See, that's a great point. When we were coaching agents, we say content, it's skin, all right? And it's education-based marketing. That's exactly what you're doing. You are not telling people you're a top producer, I'm the best, I'm the most experienced. You're giving the information, and I say a well-educated client is an easier, faster, cheaper, and better client to work with. Absolutely. You're educating the client. Sometimes we want to work with the client and we do the comparables, and the client is not educated about the market, and it's difficult to work with that person. Yeah. But by providing that information, you're not only becoming an expert. Right. Now you're positioning yourself as an expert, as you said, in a quote unquote cheap way, but it's less expensive.
Less expensive,
way.
but
All right.
we've written over 1,200 articles,
Right.
so certainly the time and
That's
energy
another point.
to
How
go into
often
it.
do you post?
We post about every other day on that
Every
particular
other
site,
day.
and now we
Right.
have 5 sites.
No, it's
So-
impossible not to become an expert, and it's impossible not for other people
Right.
to perceive you
Right.
as an expert.
Because
When
you're
you
doing
have
the
so
research,
much content.
right?
Exactly.
You're doing the research, then you're
Right.
putting it out there, and so what has happened is that we have found that a lot of our clients, and I work with sellers mostly, they also research on the internet, their area, their neighborhoods, and when they call after reading our website for a long time, they don't call anybody else.
Exactly.
I'm not competing.
Exactly.
I don't compete on nearly
You're
as many
dominating.
listings
You're not
as other
competing
people
anymore.
because they've already done their homework on me.
Right.
And when they call me, I know I'm getting a listing because I know
Right.
they've been reading the site.
Right.
And a lot of people will call and say, I've been reading your site for 2 or 3 years. Thank you. It's been so informative. Now we're ready.
Right. What the way you say it, the way we say it in our coaching program is that there's one primary reason why people do business with you, and starts with a T. Trust.
Right.
All right. And so if we know that trust is what's going to build our business and bring clients, what's the best way to do it? And there are 2 ways. Number one, by communicating constantly, which is what you're doing. And number 2, sending relevant information, which is exactly what you're doing. And that's what we see over 120 transactions closed just in 1 year. All right. And you told me before, your business has increased more than 50%
A year for 5 years.
every single year for 5 years. That's a tremendous growth. All right. And the second thing is, we were talking off cameras, it's not only content, but people might ask, well, what type of content? Well, where were you born?
Right. You're born here, Coconut
Right,
Grove.
in Coconut Grove,
So-
right? Where do you live?
Coconut Grove.
All right.
I work and play and live Coconut Grove.
Where's your office?
It's in Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove. So if I want to compete with you,
Right.
I better live in Coconut Grove.
It makes it harder for our competition.
Exactly.
And-
all right. So
and-
you hyper specialize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we like to use the term hyper organic local
You
information.
taught me that term a few minutes
and
ago. I
it's-
love
it's,
that.
you know,
Hyper organic.
Yep. Local information.
Local information.
Yeah, and what it is that we just want to. You can't be all things to everybody in real estate, and Miami is a gigantic city, and you can get lost in the city. And our business really took off when we shrunk our model down, and we stopped running all over the place, and we just focused on one community, which is the one that made the most sense.
Right.
I grew up here. I love it here. I know people here.
Right.
People have known me for years here.
Right.
So the more we got local,
Right.
better our business got. So we really grew by subtraction
Right.
until we had a serious core base, which we have now. And now we're growing slowly by expanding and
Right.
taking our model of the blog here
Beautiful.
and using it on Brickell, on Key Biscayne, on
Beautiful.
Coral Gables, and getting other agents to go and teach them our methods
Right.
in those areas.
Right.
So we're growing our business now, outside of the Grove. But first, we really took the time to grow just Coconut Grove, and it gave us a base and steady.
Right. We say there are 6 things you need to sell real estate, and you're doing all of them. Number 1 is position yourself in a very specific area. You've done that. You were born here. You work here. Your family is around here. Your friends are around here. You position yourself. If you see at the work of every single top producer like Riley, they hyper specialize in this very specific area.
Yeah.
Number 2, now you have a product, a service, a magnet, something that attracts people, which is what? Your content.
Yeah.
Right? And then we're using different ways of marketing that.
And it's not just the content online because it's content that I have. I carry it with me.
Right.
So it's when I'm having a conversation with you, it doesn't take long to know this guy knows what he's doing at Coconut Grove. And now we have the benefit and the luxury of the numbers behind us.
Right.
We've sold over 300 homes in Coconut Grove. So
Gee,
it's the odds are I've sold your neighbor's house. That's
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
that kind of builds itself.
Right.
It's been a good run.
Now, on the way to the top, I'm sure, like any other successful, not only real estate agent, any successful business person, and I like your approach. I mean, you see this as a business. I'm sure you had many failures in the past.
Sure.
Right? Like everybody, every successful person. Any particular failure that stands out, and what did you learn from that experience?
I think first failure, I like it. I like to fail sometimes because I feel like you learn faster
Definitely.
and you get the message when you fail, right? When you just marginally succeed, you never get hit over the head, right? So we had gigantic failures. We believe in trying everything, and we spend money on every possible way you could get business, whether it's trying to buy leads or whether it's trying, but we found out, that a lot of that for us just didn't work. Some of our other failures is, maybe spending too much energy on buyers. We really started, for me personally, I realized this, and I have 25 listings, right? I can't have 25 buyers, but I used to try, and I would run around, and so the best failure that I learned from was really, I was doing so much that I couldn't give service. I couldn't provide the confidence and the trust. They didn't get that from me because I didn't even have it in myself. We stretched ourselves too fast.
Being everything to everybody.
Yeah, that was the biggest failure for us. And then when we realized that, we went back into our comfort zone and just gained our confidence back. And from there, it was that. So I think that would be the biggest failure for us was, we tried to grow too fast, and we tried to just do everything that came across, which as a real estate agent is very hard not to do. Every time we get a lead, what do? You see a bag of money standing next to it, right? And you want to chase it. But the reality is that, a lot of those leads don't pan out. And so we tried to change the business model to have the people come to us versus us going to them and chasing people.
And that's what you learned from that experience.
Yeah, and the time and energy that was spent, it took away from the core business.
And in real life, or most people call those things failures. In marketing, it's called testing, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what you did. And you said it with your own words. We tested. We tried so many things.
We constantly try.
You have to. Exactly.
Every new thing you can do. I need to get an app. We try that. Do we do? You try everything, and not all of it sticks. But and not all of it is for you. There's somebody that is doing all of these things and they're successful. Zillow is a great example. I mean, there's a guy in Maryland who is making a killing off Zillow, and he's spending $100,000 a month or something crazy. But he's making a huge. But does Zillow work here? So we tried Zillow. It didn't really work for us here. So it's but somebody can make all of these work, but you can't make them all work. You have to find your niche.
Exactly. Now that's a failure. One of the successes in your business that stands out, and what were you able to take out of that particular success? Or
I think our success has been that we've been able to, my success has come from really building a great team, and I think that's our biggest success, is that we've been able to encourage and convince very good agents to join our group and work under our umbrella, and from that we have been able to leverage a lot. I couldn't do 121 transactions by myself. It's just not possible. And so having the ability to gain the confidence and trust of other agents has been our biggest success. I always tell agents very early on in this career, your clients, they come and go. The other agents that you work with is your bread and butter. And the better you can have a relationship with them later in life will help you in many other ways.
Why is it important to have, if I'm a real estate agent, what is it important for me to have a good relationship with another agent?
Well, I mean, we live
which is a great point, but
and in Miami, and especially in Coconut Grove, the market, it's very competitive. Our buyers are trying to get an advantage over other buyers. Properties are selling the same day. There's multiple bids. There's multiple things. And what we have found is that, of course, it is human nature that we like to work with people we like and trust and respect. As you know, and we talked about earlier, there's 37,000 realtors here. So if another agent has 4 offers or 4 other potential people that are in front of them, but they've worked with us and they know us and they know that we have the ability to get the job done, to do it ethically, to do it the right way, it gives our client an advantage. I think that is, and then now the flip side of that is, having done that for so many years, like always trying to do the right thing and always being respectful with our other agents, now it has been easier for me to cultivate agents into our group. They want to work with us. They know the reputation that we have out there.
What do you think is the key to attracting those agents, other than your reputation? Because you definitely have it.
Of course, listen, the key is they want to make money. They're all in this business to make money. But what most people in our industry struggle with, and we talked about earlier, is generating the leads. I think most of us are very capable at doing the business and doing the paperwork and showing the houses and taking the buyers around. That's something that we all can learn pretty easily. But what we talked about earlier is what separates the big boys, is really the ability to gather good quality leads and then go from there. And so what we do is, we're good at that. And we take those leads and we pass them out, because again, we can't be all places at one time. So what attracts them to us is that we have enough business to share.
Okay.
You know, and we're very careful how we grow. You know, we go from 1, 2 very slowly, and make sure we constantly can feed them enough business. You know, so we offer them leads. That's a big benefit. But then we also offer them the experience and the camaraderie. And this is, you know, we're all human, right? And a lot of us in real estate,
the human aspect of it.
A lot of new agents, they get isolated, and you miss out, and you don't learn as fast. Us as a group, we're almost like a family. We socialize together. We take the group away on vacation so that we can communicate.
That's
so
nice,
you know, within the 9 of us, there's always something going on. So we're always learning from each other's mistakes. We're always learning from each other's gains, and you know, we're also sharing information on properties and things and clients. So it's that camaraderie kind of makes the whole, you know, process a little bit more enjoyable, and also just, I think, more educational for everybody. You know, we're big on education, as we talked about. You know, sort of
education is key
education
to this
it's everything in this business, and most young agents, they miss that. You know, the saying that I like to say is that, you know, you should work to learn before you work to earn.
I love that phrase. Say it again.
Work to learn before you work to earn.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is, take your time to build a foundation as to who you are, what you're going to be, what market you're going to work, and then make sure you know your business. You know, know the contract inside and out, know the inventory inside and out, learn the processes of negotiation. Really, the more you spend doing that early, the faster your curve will grow. You know, instead of what most agents do is you get your first lead and you never look back. You just follow the next lead, the next lead, the next lead, and you never get that proper foundation.
Now, talking about the new agents, and I'm talking about the real estate agents in the market right now, what do you think are some of the challenges they're facing? You mentioned one off camera, which I think was great. I don't know if you remember the one that you mentioned. You want to talk about that one or something else, but I think that one was great.
What I think new agents face the most now is that in the past, realtors were the keeper of all information, right? If you wanted to buy a house, you know, there was no internet to go look at. You had to go to the real estate agent. They had the houses, they had the information. You know, nobody really knew how this all worked, how to figure out closed sales, and you know, so our industry was very guarded. Now, obviously, the internet, you know, has changed everything. And fast forward, you know, 20 years, everything is at the fingertips of the consumer.
Great point.
And all the information is there, and they are more focused on a certain specific thing than you are, because you know we're on, you know, doing different things. So you know, the new agent today struggles with having the information at their fingertips that the client has, and then therefore impressing the client enough to give them what we talked about earlier, is that they want your trust. And what I like to tell my agents is that they want your confidence. I feel like that's what we sell. We don't sell houses. We sell confidence.
I like that.
We sell. Yeah, we're gonna take you from A, and we're gonna get you to Z, and we're gonna get you over the bumps in the road, you know. And we've done it enough times that we can get you there. And I think to have that, you really got to have that information. You got to have the history behind you. You had to have done more transactions. So newer agents today, you know, they struggle because, you know, again, their clients can look up anything.
Online,
and they do
in seconds, and they do exactly
all the time. And how do you combat that when you're doing this and this, and then they're asking you that? You know, it's a challenge. You know, and you know, the bigger, and also for new agents, you know, they face a challenge that everybody's becoming this team concept has really grown, and these big animals, big monsters that are leveraging so much time and energy and money, and then there you are, you're isolated. And also, you know, lastly, for a new agent starting today, is what is a struggle is that there is so much. Right? I mean, you got your social media or your blogging, you got to do your, you know, all these new websites you got to be on. You know, are you going to do printing marketing? I mean, there's so many things that go into
and it's not only so many things, it's that not only knowing what to do, but knowing how to do that. Because then we start doing social media, but we don't know how. We send postcards and they don't work because we don't know how. We don't have a plan. And then after 1 month, it doesn't work, and we don't try it. And they say, no, it didn't work. Well, you didn't give it the time. You didn't put like right copy on it. So that being said, any particular habit that you have to keep yourself up to date, sharp in the marketplace?
I mean, my biggest business habit, I would say, is our goal writing. I am a huge believer in goals. For me, you know, if you know where you want to go, then you sort of, that starts the roadmap there. You know, and I think a lot of people in our business, they tend to just do the daily business and not stop and think about where they're going to go and how they want to grow.
Okay.
You know, we talked about earlier, you know, I think of myself as having a real estate business, not
Right.
being a realtor anymore.
Right.
And so once I made that switch over, then I started thinking, well, how do I grow this real estate business?
Right.
And so I started back in 2007, writing down my goals every day, taking 15 to 20 minutes every day.
Every single day.
Every single day,
Right.
yes. And they obviously all evolve and they change. But what happens is eventually a pattern starts to persist.
Right.
And what it does is it reminds you daily where you want to be,
Right.
and what you want to do.
Right.
You know, I think to grow, you have to be able to stretch your mind, and
Right.
then you have to believe that
Right.
you can get there. And as you start to write it more and more and more, and as you start to see the successes that you've had
Right.
in your goals get bigger. You start to push yourself. You
Right.
get the confidence that you're going to get there,
Right.
and then somehow miraculously the universe
Right.
seems to find a way.
Right.
You know, but I think if you don't dream it, believe it, and write it down,
Right.
it can't happen.
There's a magic
Yes.
connection
There
between
is.
the hand and the brain.
There is,
And I
and
say
you don't
that,
stumble into that.
right.
It just it's a process.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talk about that in coaching. As a matter of fact, I'll show you here. It's the little magic paper, we call it in our program, in the real estate program. It's that every single day, not only you write your goals, which is back here,
Yeah.
but the activities that will get you
Sure.
to that goal every single day. So you're very clear. What happens with most real estate agents is that they don't know what to do. There are so many things that they could be doing, but they don't know what to do first, what's the priority. And having that clarity, I mean, if you want to close over 100 transactions per year, if you want to be a top producer, I mean, that's Riley Smith telling you, you need to write your goals every day. You need to be clear. Simplicity in your business. You talk also about eliminating things, right? Sometimes it's not about what I have to do, but about what I should not do. Exactly, should not be doing. So that's a great point. That's a great habit every single day. Taking 20 minutes to clarify your mind.
And what happens is that as you're writing that goal,
Right.
you know, what I did a talk with a bunch of realtors about goal setting the other day.
You mentioned to me
one of the things that I talked about is that we all tend to overestimate how much we can do in a day.
Right.
But we all tend to underestimate how much you can do in a year and in 5 years.
Right.
And everybody in the room that I was talking to, it didn't matter what age group, and we have all ranges of people in our office.
Right.
You could be anywhere in 5 years.
Right.
And
Right.
it's and it goes fast.
Right.
So it's forgetting that daily thing, because we just get on the wheel during the day, making sure you have the big picture in front of you, and then tracking the big picture.
Exactly.
So for me, when I'm writing my goal, I'm thinking about, all right, if I want to sell, my goal this year is 115 million.
Okay.
If I want to sell 115
which,
million,
by the way, I think you're ahead of
which is
Facebook.
we're ahead of pace right
Right,
now.
right.
Yeah, we're having a great start to the year. But it's if I'm not, what am I doing today to get there, or how much more do I need to do? And I'm tracking the goals, and I can see, I need to work harder or work smarter or spend more money here or do more there or maybe add another agent. These things come to you.
Excellent.
They come to you while you're doing your goals.
Right.
And it takes 15 minutes.
Right.
And it's free.
Exactly.
And I tell people,
Listen.
it is, when I started my talk on goals, there's 3 things to my success that I hold dear. First is my wife, who is in the business with us. And I have to say that, of course, right? But not only that do I have to say it. I mean, she is literally the brains behind a lot of our marketing and what we do.
Let's say.
The second thing is my team. I have an amazing team. And we're all working for one goal, which is great. And you don't see that much. But the third thing is literally setting my goals.
Right.
It's
every day. Repetition. Repetition is key.
Tell everybody, this is something that you can do for free that will change your life.
Right.
And it has absolutely changed my career and my life, and I believe in it 100%.
Right. Every real estate seminar that I do, whether it's for 100 people or 50 people at the Association of Realtors, or it's at national stage, I talk about 4 things that we have to do on a daily basis. 4 things every single day, and usually try to do them before you get to the office. Once you get to the office, it's your job. You're working, right? There are 4 things. Number 1, plan your business. Number 2, working on developing your business, your content, etc. The planning is what you just said. Number 3, it's practicing. What do you have to practice? Your presentation, your objections, all right? How to talk to your client, communicating. And finally, reviewing. I think you are like me, you're a big reader.
Yes.
But when you read a book just once, it's like not reading the book. You need to review that, all right? So this is Riley Smith, talking exactly about what you need to do on a daily basis. It's not about showing properties. No. It's not about driving buyers around. No. It's about planning your business.
Planning and thinking about your business.
That's a great advice.
Every day.
Great advice. Now, what's the best advice you received from one of your mentors or from one of your clients?
I think from my mentor, the best advice was to, sort of start to think of yourself as a business. Really.
Right.
I mean, I know we talked about it a lot, but don't just think of yourself as an individual, because you'll get lost in the whole thing. Think of yourself as a business, and how do you make business decisions every day, and then do the right thing and do it right. I mean, with honor and ethics and everything else. I think if you always, this business, there's a lot of shortcuts that you can take, and a lot of people do them, and I think it catches up with you in the end. Not in the short term and long term. So we really try to do the right thing all the time in the business, for our clients, for other realtors, and but also just think about your business daily.
And again, it resonates with me so much when I'm doing a talk. Regardless of the topic, I say 3 things. And if you don't learn anything else from this meeting with me, learn 3 things. Number 1, that this is a business. It's not a job or a career. Number 2, we're not in the business of real estate. We're in the business of marketing. If you want to become a top producer, every single top producer understands the value of marketing. And number 3, learn to pre-qualify. It will save you time, money, effort, and more important, frustration. You said that at the beginning of the conversation, all right? You need, the most important things are the leads. As you said, quality leads. Yes. Exactly. Qualify people.
Yeah.
All right? So to end the conversation, because I don't want to make it too long, but it's just so great information from you. Thank you very much for the time. You talk about new agents. So what would be a great advice, a good advice that you would give to an experienced agent?
I think experienced agents most experienced agents need to probably slow down a little bit.
Okay.
I think I know a lot of agents have been doing this 20, 30 years, but they're kind of in the same place that they've been for a long time.
Okay.
And I think it's because you just get caught up in following the business as it comes, and you don't slow down and think about the business. That's what I was talking about, your goals. No matter where you are now, you can either be the same place 5 years from now, or you can be way over here. But if you keep doing what you're doing, you're not going to get over here.
Exactly.
And I think experienced agents fall into a trap. And that trap is sort of just continuing the next deal. It's just about the next deal. And it's not taking the time to think about getting 20 next deals.
Exactly.
And getting those leads and getting better leads and better qualified leads. It's slowing down and thinking about what you're doing.
So the vision and then the execution.
Yeah, I think that's really the difference between the very good agents and the great agents. I think the ones that I am aspiring to be and the people that I see who are ahead of me, I think they spend a lot of time doing those things versus just doing the business.
Right.
We all get caught up in the daily grind of this business, and it is a grind. But if you can take some time out to forecast into the future and try to figure out how to grow and get more leads and more business, I think that would be probably the biggest change that you can make.
Great. I know you are an avid reader like me. One book that you could recommend our audience?
It's hard to say one. I'd like to say a couple books, probably, because there's a couple that have really changed the way I think about this business. We talked about the goals with Brian Tracy, Nate called Goals, and that really got me started writing my goals down. And then from there, I read the Success Principles from Jack Canfield, the author of the Chicken Soup books.
Yeah, definitely.
And that sort of had stories behind the goals. So then I got to see how it worked for other people in real life. And now I just read a great book, and I'm sorry that the author is forgetting me, but it's called 6 Steps to 7 Figures. And I think that book is a great book for people who've been in the business a while. I think if you read that today, just out of school, it would be overwhelming. But if you've been in the business a long time and you're ready to take that next step and you want to make $1 million in real estate, that book it has a perfect step-by-step process for you to understand. And once you see it and understand it, I think then you can go for it. And then lastly, if you're a new agent, as we talked earlier, the Bible, Gary Keller, Keller Williams, the millionaire agent, it teaches you a little bit of everything, and everybody should read it.
Riley, it's been a true pleasure. I could keep you here for the rest of the day, but I know you're a very busy top producer, real estate agent, and I appreciate you having me in one of your beautiful listings in Coconut Grove.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I love talking real estate. I'm a real estate junkie. Like I mentioned to you, I'm going on vacation next week, and I've already got my real estate book to read. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but it's what I am. So
how can somebody compete with you if you are so eager to learn? That's the beauty of this business. And when I coach people, that's exactly what I say. If I can give you the gift of the joy of what you do instead of the money. There's a great book, by the way, before we finish the interview. It's called So Good They Can Ignore You. And the premise of that book is that less than 2% of the people are born with a vocational career. And it's not only until you get so good at it that you start enjoying.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you for having us here, though, and coming and interview me. I really do appreciate it. And this is a fantastic home. Actually, one of my favorite properties.
Right. How big is it?
It's 5,300 square feet. It sits right up on the ridge. You get the beautiful breeze from Biscayne Bay.
Right.
It is totally updated, and I mean, it has all the characteristics of what Coconut Grove is about. This house. It's got charm and character. It's got functionality. And it's just a truly beautiful house. So,
what's the listing price?
Right now, we are listed at $3,875,000.
Very, very nice.
Inside the beautiful gates of the moorings.
Riley, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Right?
Appreciate it.
And we will see you in another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Make it a very productive day. Take care, guys.